Hey guys, it's Trina here. I wanted to share with you a little Lightroom tutorial that I learned some tricks about real estate photography recently. I've just started diving into this genre about 5 or 6 months ago, and I was having a really hard time trying to figure out how to get those crispy edited photos that you see everybody have. As you can see here on the screen, we've got the photo that I started off with and the photo that I ended up with. And I'm going to show you how we get there using Lightroom and a couple of tricks that I've learned along the way. So let's get started. Let's go back to our mode here. Here you can see I have my light exposure, my dark exposure, and my medium exposure 3 steps apart. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to select these 3 photos. Actually, make sure we only got 3. Select these 3 photos. Then we're going to right click and come down here to stacking. If I can find it, stacking, group into stack. And this is what you do when you first start out. You guys probably already know this. Next thing we're going to do is right click and go to photo merge. And that's going to do, we're going to click on HDR settings. And that's going to combine them into one photo that we can edit and create our really high dynamic range image for the MLS. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to click on this photo. I usually come up here to text, and this is just a little tip when you have a whole real estate session. You have the 3 photos, maybe you have an edited photo, and then you have the HDR photo. You come over here to text and then click HDR, type in HDR and hit enter. It's only going to show you the HDR photos, which will save you some time. And you won't have to go through all your photos. So that's kind of fun. Okay, so here we are in Lightroom. The first thing I always like to do is to do our lens correction. I'm shooting with a Nikon 18 to 35. And then while I'm here, I also come into auto and fix our lines, although that is completely off. So let me fix that real quick because that will drive me crazy if it's crooked. So I usually just do sides of the room, and that should give us, it wasn't that off. Okay. I think it's because I shot at a weird angle. Okay, so we've done that. Now let's come into, if we were to edit this photo without, just as we normally would, you would bring up the exposure as much as you can. You'd pull down the highlights. You'd pull down the whites if you can. Set your white balance. You can see that things are a little blown out, a little bit. We wanted it to be brighter. Add some contrast. And you can see that things are just a little blown out, like right here and right here and over here. It's just not crisp and clean, and there's not a lot of contrast. So the solution to that, let me reset this all. We're going to go back and do this just really quickly again. My solution is if you go up here to the, you have the auto, the black and white, and this HDR button. If we click on this HDR button, this is going to allow us to have a broader range of light and darks. And it's really going to change the way that you can edit these photos quickly in Lightroom. The first thing we're going to do is bring up the, oh, not that one. So we have our normal set of exposure right here. Come down here to preview for SDR display. You have to make sure you check that. Come into the brightness, pull that all the way up. And then you're going to come down here to the highlights and you're going to pull those all the way down. You can see our windows are looking really good right through here. And the highlight saturation, I like to pull down just halfway. I'm also going to bring up the clarity and the contrast just a little bit to begin. Now, when we go back up to our first set of adjustments, we can bring up slowly until we get it where we want. And look at all of the, look at the extra dynamic range we have in all of these photos. I'm sorry, in all the pictures. We can bring down the shadows. I like to do that a little bit. I'm going to bring down the blacks just a little bit. I like a little bit of contrast. And I'm going to bring it up just even more slightly just through here. And you can see how immediately that we have a lot of depth in our lamps and in the ceiling fan. It's not looking blown out. We don't have to do any masking or anything like that. And that's how we want it to look. Crisp, clean, editorial, super easy to do. And it took like 3 minutes. So that's kind of fabulous, right? Okay, second trick. Window pulls, kind of a pain. Let's click up here in the masking tool. I discovered the objects button. It's going to create a new mask. And the secret to this button is we're just going to click within the window and we're just going to draw around it. You don't have to be perfect with this. It's just going to snap into make that mask perfect for our window pulls. There we have that. We're going to come down into our sliders and we're going to decrease the exposure as much as you want. I don't like my window pulls to be that noticeable. I mean, I want them there, but I don't want it to be like, you know, crystal clear. At least that's my opinion. Make sure to ask your realtor what they think. I like a little bit of contrast and a little bit of shadow. You can see here, we've already made a huge difference. You can see little skeletons out there. Then we're going to make another mask. This one is the same. Select objects. We're going to do the second window over here. And like I said, if you go a little bit over, you can always come back in with a brush and brush it off. But usually it's pretty easy just to get inside. It does a pretty good job of keeping it inside. You can see we got a little bit there that we're going to have to clean up on that mask. Again, let's take down the exposure, bring up the contrast, bring down the shadows. And I'm going to bring up, I like to add a bit of yellow, bring down the shadows a little bit. I think I need to, let's bring down this exposure just a little bit more. There you have it. That's pretty much it. And you can play around with this as you need. So on this one, on this mask, oh, I guess we didn't really click over there, but you can see where the masks are. Perfectly mask off. So yeah, that's my little trick. The only other thing that I would do for this image is come up here to my remove tool using the AI to get rid of that reflection because I don't like reflections. It drives me batty, reflections. But yeah, that's it. That's how you edit quickly and efficiently in Photoshop to get a clean, bright image. Let's look at our before and after. Here's the before, here's the after. Huge difference. And you can see that we've really maintained a lot of this detail in these lamps, especially in, I mean, they're even a little bit blown out in the original. But you can see, especially in the ceiling fan, that they look great. Okay, I think that's all I've got today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want more tutorials like this and want me to share more about my journey as a real estate photographer, let me know in the comments and I'll see what else I can come up with. I'd love to make more videos. I just need you to tell me what kind of content you want. Okay, thanks so much. Bye.